All right, good morning and welcome to our channel. Today, I want to discuss how to use your voucher before it expires. If you're watching this video, it means you have already been through the process of waiting, you've been approved, and now you're out and trying to use your search time, but you want to be able to do that before it expires. So, before we get started, I'm going to do a few introductions. My name is Jay. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com. And if you give me a minute here, I'm going to switch screens so we can give your company information. And here we are. All right. So looking down in the middle, you'll see my face here actively talking to you on top of this. And also, because many people have learning disabilities and others are slow to interpret, I'm going to bring in notes to help us out with this today. So I'm going to pull this in as a Word file. Let's see if I can grab it. There we go. And as you can see, we post our company information up here. There's a phone number, and you see an email and web address at the very top of the screen. So how to use your Section 8 voucher before it expires. Receiving a Housing Choice Voucher is a major opportunity, but it comes with a deadline. Vouchers must be located and suitable for rental, and you must be able to submit the required paperwork before the voucher expires, obviously. Simply applying for an apartment or receiving verbal approval from a landlord generally does not complete the process. Okay. I know there's a lot of guides out there, but they're not official. So number one, confirm your exact expiration date. Read the voucher carefully and identify the following: the date the voucher was that was issued, the expiration date, the approved bedroom size, meaning the number of bedrooms that you're looking for, the housing authority's payment standard, which is usually posted on their website. And also, I don't want that to be confused with HUD's payment standard. You need to get the payment standard directly from your PHA. And a PHA means Public Housing Authority. The maximum amount you may pay and whether the voucher can be used outside the housing authority's jurisdiction. In other words, if you go too far and it's not within their jurisdiction, then you're now creating a circumstance where you have to port the voucher, meaning move it. Beyond that, the procedure and deadline for requesting an extension. You need clarity of that from the very beginning, okay? A lot of people are being granted 60 days search time, and because of disabilities and other factors, it may slow your search time. So it's important you understand what you can potentially get an extension for before you even start. If you don't know, you should reach out to my office, okay? I'll offer appointments. Moving on from there, HUD requires regular housing choice voucher initial search time to be at least 60 calendar days at minimum, but a housing authority may provide more time. And typically, I'm going to tell you how that works out. Typically, you're going to get 60 days to start. If you have extenuating circumstances, you may go another 60 days, okay? But the maximum line is 3 requests and a maximum of 6 months of extensions. In other words, 60 days, 60 days, and 60 days. A lot of you guys are going to find it very difficult after you request a second extension to get the third, okay? They will battle you in that, so you're going to need really good medical reason for that, among other things, okay? So do not assume that every housing authority automatically grants 90 and 120 days. The date printed on the voucher and the housing authority's administrative plan are extremely important. So if you don't have an administrative plan from your specific housing authority, you can do a Freedom of Information Act and address it to in-house counsel or the manager of the building and request that. I advise requesting that as digital, not printed out. Otherwise, you'll end up with a $300 bill to do so. Number two, starting search immediately. Do not wait until the final few weeks to begin contacting apartment communities, private landlords, property management companies, nonprofit housing providers, affordable housing developments, landlord list, and then properties listed through local housing search websites. So really, you should already be getting these resources in place. If you're having difficulty with that or you're already mid-range in this, then you may need the assistance of a company like mine, okay? Again, you can reach out to us through our phone number, email, and so on. We are strictly by appointment. Moving on from there, each landlord will ask the following: Do you accept the housing? Do you accept housing choice vouchers? What is the rent? What utilities does the tenant pay? Is the unit currently available? When can it be inspected? And what are the application and screening requirements? Will you complete the request for tenancy approval paperwork? I think the most important question here is when can it be inspected? Because you need to kind of let landlords know that these typical processes can last as long as a month before you get an inspection, especially in larger metropolitan cities. Number three, understanding the payment standard. The payment standard is not necessarily the maximum contract rent, the housing authority evaluates the unit's gross rent, which generally includes contract rent and the utility allowance for tenant paid utilities. Guys, you're going to have a difficult time finding utilities included in non-metropolitan areas because the housing authority doesn't kick in much on that, and therefore it would be a fabulous waste of time for most landlords to also include that. Moving on there, the housing authority must also determine whether the rent is reasonable compared with similar unassisted units. One thing I'm going to stop real quick and tell you guys is I'm going to leave notes for this also in the description of the video as well as the comments section. So you don't need to be in a frantic pace to take notes. You can also stop and start the video and save it or bookmark it if you wish. And this will allow you an opportunity to rehear what I have to say or to actually look at a printed copy through the comments and also description. So do not worry. Moving on from there, the initial lease up, the family generally cannot be required to pay more than 40% of its adjusted monthly income towards rent, tenant paid utilities when the gross rent exceeds the payment standard. Before paying for an application fee, ask the housing authority for an estimated affordability calculation. A unit may appear affordable based on the rent alone, but become unaffordable after the tenant pays electricity, gas, water, and other utilities. So we want to recap that. You want to ask the housing authority for a estimated affordability calculation. Okay, guys, probably never heard of that one, right? Moving on there. Number 4, prepare for a voucher ready file. Keep these documents ready. The voucher and briefing packet, government issued identifications. I advise multiple copies of everything you've got, birth certificate, ID, and so on. Social security cards, same thing, multiple copies, proof of income and benefits. Look, proof of income, you're going to want to do that usually within 30 days of search time. Do not do this too early because it will be irrelevant if it's too dated. Landlord references, put everything together and make sure you articulate that very well on at least a piece of paper digitally. Proof of rental history, same thing there, and the reasonable accommodation documents when applicable. Copies of all applications and landlord communications, and money for application fees and security deposits. Look, guys, think of this kind of like an interview with a landlord. The best chance you're going to have is when you do most of the work for the landlord and then present a nice, neat folder with everything ready to go. If you go swinging in there with just a good conversation and then you don't have all the shit to go forward, then it shows you're mismanaged, okay? So it's really important you build out a nice portfolio. That way you can let the landlord know you're well prepared and you're ready to move forward compared to the other 90 applicants that just wanted to have a conversation and window shop. All right, take that very seriously because not every landlord wants a voucher. The housing authority normally pays rent assistance, not the security deposit. Ask whether the PHA, city, county, or local nonprofit offers deposit assistance. There are programs out there. If you're struggling to find that and you need assistance with that, our office can also assist you with that and usually provide all the local resources. It does not guarantee you're going to get them all or even one of them, but it will make you keenly aware of all available options to help you further this process. Number 5, submit the RFTA. That is a request for tenancy, okay, before the deadline. Once a landlord agrees to participate, the tenant and landlord must complete the request for tenancy approval, commonly called the RFTA, and landlord packet. The landlord packets for the landlord, the request for tenancy approval form, which we call it RFT, is what you're carrying around. It's pretty much the new standard of you walking around with the voucher, okay? The housing authority may also request a proposed lease, tenancy addendum, owner identification, W-9 and tax form information, proof of property ownership, direct deposit information, a lead-based paint disclosures, management authorization, utility information. These are all standard items, and it'd be better if you guys made a copy and paste list of that. That way, if you have an interested landlord, you can make this as easy as possible by having first a landlord packet ready to go, okay, from the housing authority, plus letting them know this is what they're going to possibly need, and then go on and submit the complete packet through an approved method and obtain proof showing that the date it was received. Keep copies of everything. Copies, copies, copies. Let me give you a little bit of advice, guys. You're going to go in an apartment, you're going to rent it, and say you're successful. The first thing you do when you push a key in that doorknob is you pull out your camera phone and you walk all the way through that unit to show condition, turn on every faucet, flush every toilet, turn on the shower, make sure everything's functional, make sure it's all on video. This is how you recover your security deposit, okay? Otherwise, you wait months into this deal, then you decide you want to make a record of it, and then you move out of there 10 years later, and you wonder why you don't get your deposit back. You must do that, and it's better to record and make sure you have a witness with you. That way, you have recourse. Do not simply, we don't live in a time and an age where you can just trust trust everybody or even trust the landlord has best interest for you. Therefore, a material record should always be kept from the moment you enter into a contract or lease with them and have contract with the housing authority. Okay. Be clear about that and be very diligent. Number 6, understanding when the voucher clock is suspended. Under Title 24, 982, 303, the PHA must adopt the policy that suspends, stops the voucher clock when the family submits an RFTA. In other words, when you submit that, whatever loose change, and I mean loose change is additional time you have not used in your search time, that remains in a balance in case this fails. Make sure that clock is stopping. Verify with the PHA. A lot of you guys don't realize that. Anyways, the suspension generally lasts for the PHA notifies the family in writing whether the proposed tenancy was approved or denied. When you get an approval or denial, that's when the clock restarts. It isn't when you decide to call back and go, oh, well, I took a yoga class and went to vacation in Bahamas. Now I'd like to restart the clock. No, ma'am, it doesn't work that way. Approval and denial letter from the PHA, the clock starts instantly that day. Important distinctions. Merely applying for a unit does not stop the clock. The landlord verbally agreeing to rent to you does not stop the clock. An incomplete RTFA may not receive the same protection. The exact suspension procedure should appear in a PHA's administrative plan. That is now the third time you've heard about this administrative plan. I strongly encourage you through this process to do a Freedom of Information Act and get that administrative plan sent to you digitally so you're operating by the same rules and policies as a housing authority versus you being subject to just whatever they tell you. Moving on from there, asking the housing authority in writing, please confirm the date of my voucher was suspended, the number of the days that are remaining, and my revision to the expiration date. Number 7, and we're almost to the end of the list here. How help the unit pass inspection. The property must meet HUD's applicable inspection standards. Common problems include missing or non-working smoke alarms, electrical hazards, water leaks, broken windows and locks, unsafe stairs and handrails, inoperable heating and plumbing, peeling paints in home and lead-based problems with the paint job, infestations and roaches, rats, and all those different things that can end up being a pest in there, missing utilities, and other health and safety violations. Easiest way to do this is ask for a material copy of the housing quality inspection from the PHA, keep a copy with you, and then offer it to the landlord. That way, everybody's clear on what must be done pre-approval, okay? You don't want to wait till you've already been hit by this and then find out later. Encourage the landlord to repair known problems before the inspection. Failed inspection can consume valuable time, especially when re-inspection is required. You're looking at almost a 50% failure rate in losing your ability to rent there if they've got to wait 60 days in order to rent that unit, okay? They only have so much patience. You really need to nail it the first go-round. Otherwise, it's going to be a fabulous waste of the landlord's time, okay? Do not move in solely based on expectation the voucher will eventually be approved. I see lots of people moving in the furniture and they're setting up to play house, and guess what? You have the single approval. Doing that automatically voids this whole process, and you could end up losing your voucher over that. Number 8, request an extension before expiration. Look, guys, when you get down the last 2 weeks of that search time, you need to be on the hotline, on the red line, to not the president, but the PHA. Let them know this has been a troubling search and you're looking at the potential request of an extension for another 60 days. Do not wait till the stroke of midnight like Cinderella to go out there and try to request something when you time yourself out. That's a great way to lose your voucher. If you're struggling to locate an apartment, approval for a unit, submit a written extension request before the voucher expires, and you need a matter of record. You can mail it, you can put it by email. Conversations on the phone are worthless, okay? Explanation, how long you need to explain how long you've had to search, how many landlords you've contacted. It's good when you keep a log where you have applied, okay? So you can show that your efforts have gone into this, along with detailed information of each property, which units you applied for, why the applications were denied, whether the landlord refused vouchers, whether the rents exceeded the program limits, whether the units failed inspection, whether the housing authority and landlord caused delays, or whether you need an accessible or disability-related unit. In other words, ADA compliance. what additional time you're requesting, of course, was always important to put at the very end of that. And attach a housing log, application denial notices, emails, text messages, and inspection records. So really, you need to be keeping a active record of the whole process. So find the easiest way to do that, where you can easily produce a record. Okay, don't try to do this after the fact, because you're going to end up with a whole lot of wasted time and energy. Outside the reasonable accommodation context, extensions are generally controlled by the PHA's written administrative plan. Now, it's the fourth time you've heard it. It might be time to go and request that. PHA may grant one of the extensions under its policy, but ordinary extension is not automatically a guaranteed. And number 9, we've only got one more to go after this. Disability-related extensions are different. A person with a disability may request an additional search time as a reasonable accommodation when the disability creates a need for more time. Possible reasons include needing a wheelchair accessible unit, needing housing near a medical treatment or accessible transportation, hospitalization or interruption of the search time per treatment, difficulty completed application because of the disability, needing particular unit configuration, needing an extra bedroom approved for disability related purposes, and requiring assistance from a caregiver or service provider. The PHA must extend the voucher term when additional time is necessary. I'm going to move on to the last part here. Okay, guys. So number 10, consider portability. Say you've timed out everything, you've tried a lot of housing search, you're on the verge of losing this voucher, then the Hail Mary is maybe you could potentially convince the housing authority to grant portability and then move the voucher to a different housing authority jurisdiction, which then may reset the clock. That's a contentious process, okay? I would advise reach out to my office if you're in danger or peril of losing that voucher, and if you're considering that process, because although it's one of the easiest things to do when done normally, it's one of the most difficult things to do when it's not done under normal conditions. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. The reason I speak so fast in these videos is people have the torch. They want to get to the point, and many have short attention spans. So this is the best way to deliver that information. Again, guys, my phone number, email, and company address is at the top of the screen. If all your efforts have yielded little result, you're struggling to understand how to navigate the system, reach out to my company on by appointment, and we can help you through the process. I hope you enjoy your day, and we'll see you later. All right, bye-bye for now.